and welcome back to Arch Adventures. Today I'm going to be doing my me at 26 video. It's a little bit late. My birthday was back in September on the 13th and it is now November, but with lockdown and homeschooling and everything I just have not had the time to do it, which is also why you can see so many shadows. It is much later today than I was expecting it to be when I filmed this, so I hope that it still looks okay and you don't mind. So I turned 27 in September, and every year since I was about 23 I think I've been doing these videos, so let's do it again and see if anything's changed, and I will link the playlist down below if you'd like to watch any of the previous videos, and if you want to add some questions in for next year. Okay, so the way that I would normally do these is I do the same set of questions every single year, and I'll be honest, I messed up. I didn't go back and watch through the old videos and take down the questions. I thought I already had them in my phone because through the year I like jot down bits that have happened that I want to talk about, and I've been doing that, but I haven't actually stuck to the original questions, so I'm so sorry. There might have to be a part 2 of this or something. I've really messed up there, but I don't have enough time to go back and watch a whole 20-minute video to get the questions, so we're just going to deal with what I have on the iPad and work from there. So the first thing I want to talk about is my bucket list. Now lately I have been really heavily thinking on like what I want to do in life, because I grew up with very bad anxiety. From the age of like 14 to 19 I was extremely socially anxious, so I didn't really want to go out to busy places or anything, which meant that travelling wasn't something that was a big part of my life. But over the last few years, I've fallen in love with travelling, whether it's a new city or a new place in my own city or travelling abroad. I do want to travel a lot more. So my bucket list has now turned into travel destinations, and I would love to see these places one day. So here we go. So the two biggest things on my bucket list are road trips. I would like to have a little hippie van and do England and possibly the Netherlands and Wales. And I would also like to do a big US road trip with my daughter and my best friend. It's something that we've talked about recently, and there's just so many things in the United States that you can go and see and do, and I would just love to go and just travel and just do as much as I can before coming home. These are quite big dreams, probably not going to get there, but we can hope, and that's good enough for me. Something that I've always wanted to try is horseback riding. I would love to go and do it like at a beach or in the countryside, but I don't know how to ride a horse, so that would probably take a while to build up to, but I do really want to go horse riding. I know that in Canada, I have a friend who lives over in Calgary and she lives near the mountains, and I know that you can go on the horses and go around the mountains and see like wild bears and stuff, so I think that that would be incredible and I would love to do that one day. I think that would be so much fun. And I'm not really sure why I want to do this, but I really want to go to Texas and watch like the rodeos, and for some reason I've put on here that I want to do line dancing, which I do want to do, but I cannot tell you why I want to do it. It just looks fun. So this kind of ties into the USA road trip thing, because I would love to go and see my friends abroad, and a majority of them do live in America. I do have a friend in Australia and I have a friend in Canada as well. So yeah, I'd love to go and be able to meet all these people that I've been speaking to for years. Like some of them I've been speaking to since like 2013, 2014. So a long time, and we've like watched our children grow up through FaceTimes and stuff, and it would just be amazing to actually go and meet them in person after all these years. So the other items on my bucket list are Lapland, Disney World again, because it was amazing. I have to go back. It was too amazing. Venice, which we were talking about doing as a Team Heart thing, but Corona is still very much a thing, so I don't know if that's going to happen now, but stay tuned just in case. And Scotland, one of the things that I really want to do is go and see the pandas. It's the only place in England, or sorry, in the UK, you can go and see pandas, like giant pandas, proper pandas, is in Scotland. So I really want to go to Scotland so that I can see the pandas and obviously have a look around their like architecture and everything. I mean, it's a beautiful city. They've got so much, you know, I don't even know how to explain it. It's just amazing and I want to go see it. So yes, definitely Scotland. And I put Lapland again, so apparently I really want to go to Lapland. What are my favourite YouTube channels? Now unfortunately she hasn't actually been posting, she stopped posting now, but one of my all-time favourite YouTubers is Jenna Marbles. I just think she's hilarious and like the kind of person you just want to like hang out with for a day. And I love her dogs. I love dogs, so I love her dogs too, and they're funny. So yeah, she's my like most favourite one. And then there's literally every member of Team Heart. I am so thankful that so many people wanted to be a part of Team Heart, because when I started it I really didn't think that that many people would want to be a part of it, and now we've got like 19 people in the group. They're all really supportive of each other. You know, they're all really willing to work together, and we're doing a Secret Santa this year, which is so much fun. And we're talking about clubs in the future, and we've recently had some new members join, one of which is Fleck. I'll drop her link down below. But she's been so lovely and so sweet, and we've been talking a lot, and she's so lovely, and she's given me a lot of advice around Dawn-louise as well, so it's always good to have that sort of older perspective of somebody who's actually lived through these heart conditions. And she's been really supportive of the Team Heart mission and getting really involved in like future clubs and everything, so it's been really lovely having her. And yeah, I just love everyone in Team Heart. They're all just such lovely people, yeah, I'm just really thankful to know them, really. And then apart from Team Heart, my other two favourite YouTubers at the moment are Cup of TJ, which is a travel vlogger, and The Odd Mob, which is a small family channel, who we've been watching for a few years now. I think it's been since like 2017, I want to say, something like that. But Dawn-louise absolutely adores watching them as well, and yeah, they're just a lot of fun. And I actually have one of her art pieces that's over my bed, so if you've seen my vlogs with my bed, you would have seen a piece of their artwork, which is quite cool. Okay, so the next question is, what have I learned this year? So one of the biggest things that I've learned this year is that I grew up with pretty much everyone, whether it be family, friends, or people at school, teachers, etc. I've always been referred to as shy, and even in like the last few years when my anxiety got a lot better, people still would refer to me as being shy, or the shy one in the group. And what I've learned there is that I'm really not shy. I am a lot more confident than I think I give myself credit for, and I actually really do like speaking to new people, which is something that I used to absolutely dread doing, but now I love talking to people. I love talking to people and hearing their stories and finding out how they got to be where they are in life and everything. And over the last few years, I joined the Reach app, which is a like friend making app. It's kind of weird, it's not very good, but I've met so many people on there who I've been speaking to over the last few years, who I've been speaking to over the last few months in isolation, shielding, whichever you want to call it, depending on where you are. And I've really enjoyed just talking to new people and hearing about them and everything. And I know that there's someone that I spoke to for a good few hours on the phone, just listening to sort of what they've been doing with their life over the last few years, and you know, what their dreams are and everything. And I love hearing people's passion sort of speak through. So, you know, it starts with like, oh, you know, how are you? How is the weather? You know, it starts with that sort of boring small talk, but then as soon as they get to a point of something that they're passionate about, whether that be a dream or a place they've been or their pets, for example, and they just really start speaking like everything that's in their heart about it. I just love hearing that, and I think that that is something I want to do more of in the next few years. I want to spend more time actually making an effort to talk to new people, and you know, if somebody opens up a dialogue for conversation, to let it carry on. Another thing that I've learned is that I really want to travel. I really want to see new places. Like, there was places that I wanted to go, but now I would literally go anywhere. Like, I would go to a city that I have not been to before that's like 2 hours on a train ride away. I just want to see more places, and I want to experience more things. Sean and I were having a look on the Airbnb experiences, and there's like so many like really random things that you can do in England. So I just want to go and do random things that might seem weird or wacky. I just want to go, and I want to experience as much as I possibly can. I've always made sure that Dawn-louise has as many experiences as she can, but I haven't really given myself the same opportunities, so I feel like it's time that I start doing the weird or wacky things in the world too. So anyone that knows me knows that I am obsessed with dogs, but this year I've really learned how much I kind of need one. I need that companionship because Dawn-louise is older now, and the evenings are very quiet, and yeah, I'd really like to have a dog. I think that it would bring a lot of joy into our lives, having a dog, and I think we'd both just be a lot happier, and I feel like now is the best time for us to do that, because I've always sort of made excuses of why we won't get a dog, because I want to make sure that if we get a dog, you know, we're going to have it for its entire life. I want to make sure that we have ticked off every box before we even look into it, and now that we finally have, I feel like now is the time to do that. So I've learned that it's doggy year and I need to try and get a dog. Another thing that I've learned is that I really love learning like anything. There's so many like online courses that I'm never going to use the diplomas for, but I want to learn about them anyway. And most, if not all, of the books that I want to buy are like psychology books and you know, books about the world and stuff. They're not fiction novels, they're all real life books. And psychology is one of like my biggest interests, I'd say. Whether that's animal psychology or human psychology, I just find it so interesting. So I feel like there's a lot that I want to learn over the next few years that I probably won't use the, you know, diplomas or certificates for, but I just want to learn about it. And another thing that I have learned this year is that I really needed to work harder on pushing out the voice of others from my mind. I spent a lot of my childhood getting bullied, which I don't want to talk too much about because it's so far in the past now, but small things here and there from that have stayed with me and affected me as an adult. So I really have tried to put work into abolishing the memories of what people have said about me and about who I am and everything, because they're not true. Only I know who I really am, and I need to stop letting other people's perception of me become who I am. And it's definitely a hard thing to admit because no one wants to talk about, you know, the bad things that have happened in life. And I feel like anyone who has been bullied or has experience with that sort of behaviour from other people will know how long it actually stays around with you. And you don't really realise that it's still there until you really take a step back and be like, why do I think this about myself? Like, what has got me here? And a lot of it is to do with the fact that I never really got over what other people had said about me or thought about me or maybe believed that I was. So I've really taken time to learn who I am, what I enjoy, and what my personality actually is, and to be completely content in who that is. That I have learned is that I'm surprisingly adaptable, which doesn't sound like a big, like, life-changing thing for many people, but again, I had anxiety when I was younger, so any sort of new environment or change in plans really threw me off. Whereas now you can put me in a new place with new people and it doesn't faze me at all, and I actually really enjoy it, which is very, very strange. Like, to think about my past self and the way that I used to think about things and the amount of things that I missed out on because of the way that I thought about them and panicked about them, it's just not there anymore. You know, if I make a new friend, I don't really have like a filter like I used to, I guess you could say. I don't hide back any part of myself, which I'm sure it comes off badly at times because I don't shut up. But I feel like I'm very open with people, and with new experiences, like staying at a friend's house, going to a new place, are things that I wouldn't really tend to do in the past, and they're now things that I do actually really enjoy doing, so yay. So a kind of negative thing that I've learned is that I do spend a lot of my thoughts living between the past and the future instead of in the present. I am still dealing with a lot of stuff from my past, and I constantly worry about my future, even more so in the last few years. I know that I was invited for my smear when I was 25, so this was 2 years ago now, but that was sort of a tipping point for me that sort of sent me over the edge, because it made me realise that all this time that I'd been worried about losing Dawn-louise, it had never occurred to me that I also need to worry about her losing me. It had always been, I don't want to live without her. I'd never really stepped back and been like, okay, I'm actually getting older as well. Is there going to come a time when she's having to live without me? So I've kind of had to come to the realisation that as we're both getting older, both are becoming equally as likely, and that I'm very scared of that. I'm very scared of leaving her on her own and not being here to see the rest of the amazing things that she will do in her life. So yeah, it's been like a strange 2 years. I've definitely been a lot more down over the last 2 years because that sort of became a catalyst for me to look at my life a little bit differently and look at how much I've missed out on and how afraid I am that one day I won't be here to look after Dawn-louise, and how will that work because no one else fully understands her needs enough to be able to take care of her full time. because it's a learning curve, and one of the things that I experienced with her going to a mainstream school is that every year she has a new teacher who has to learn how to take care of her every year, and the first 3 months are really hard. So I think that's another reminder of how hard it might be if something like that was to happen. So it's definitely been something that I've been thinking about a lot lately, especially over the last year, and I try not to let it get to me too much, but I feel like after turning 25 it became like a lot more apparent that I'm getting older too. I used to always look forward to my birthdays, and now I've definitely got a little bit more nervous about each one. So that's definitely something I've learned, even though it's not a good thing. So one of the questions that I normally do every year in this video, I was actually going to leave out of this one because you would have already seen what I did for my birthday. But the question is, what am I doing for my birthday, and what do I wish I was doing for my birthday? So I just want to read you what I wrote in here, because thankfully, well, you're going to see why in a second. I wrote, honestly, I just wish some people would come spend it with me for a change, which is so sad. But this year, I actually had one of my best birthdays. I went and stayed with Sian and her family for the weekend, and I'll leave the link to the video down below. And they just made it so amazing, and I was so happy the whole day, and it was just so much fun, and we didn't have to actually do anything for it to be fun. You know, it was just us hanging out, but they really did make the whole weekend just so much fun for me, and I'm so grateful to them. And yeah, I just wanted to say that because it's true. I do spend most of my birthdays on my own with Dawn-louise, and I obviously love those, but no one's really ever come and spent it with me before. So it was really nice to finally do that. So thank you, Sian. So the next question is, what is my style? Now, for the first time, this has actually changed. And then every video that I've posted on here, I've had the same style. I had a really different style as a teenager. And then the minute I started doing these videos, nothing changed. So this year, I actually started wearing dresses again, which for me was kind of a big deal because I'm not a big fan of dresses normally. But I just really like the floaty sort of frilly frock type dresses. I don't know how to explain it. I'll leave like a photo or something so that you know what I'm talking about. But I've really liked like proper summer dresses this year, and as always, I'm addicted to jumpers. Now normally for winter I would go to Primark and just hunt down every jumper I liked because I love jumpers. They're comfy, they're warm, I live in England, it's cold, so I normally love getting jumpers. But obviously where we're at home and we're not going out, I haven't bought any new jumpers. But I will leave a link down below because I can't actually remember what it's called at the moment. I'm so sorry, but there's a small shop on Etsy that makes these really funky tie-dye jumpers with like pictures and stuff on, and I love it. They are kind of expensive, so I only own one, but I love them. They're so cute. So I'll leave the link down below in case you want to have a look and you like those sort of things. But they're really comfortable. So the next question is, what have been my best memories over the year? This year's been a bit tricky. So I would say that my favourite memories are going to the countryside and my birthday. I really loved going for my birthday. The week that we spent with Sian was so amazing, and swimming in the river and being terrified of hitting my knees off rocks was also very entertaining for other people. Not so much for myself, but it was fun to go swimming even though it was absolutely freezing. What else? 3 AM car ride that I had with a friend was absolute chaos, and even though in the moment I wouldn't have pinned it as like one of my best memories, but actually it was. Like looking back, it's a hilarious story, and it's a memory that I think I'm gonna always remember, and I think it's one that we'll talk about in the future between ourselves as well. So that's definitely one of the weirdest ones on the list. But other than that, with lockdown and everything, this year's been pretty boring, and I don't have that many amazing memories. But you know, just every day that I get to spend and make memories with Dawn-louise is an amazing one. So, you know, really every day's been great, but in its own little ways. And I think one of the things that I'd really like to do is at the start of next year is get a jar and just pop in every small moment that makes me smile, because there's so many like little things that bring me so much joy, whether it's a new pack of fluffy socks, you know, a blanket, which I'm borderline addicted to at this point because I have so many throws, it's ridiculous. But like small things like that that just make me smile, you know, Dawn-louise doing something silly or telling me a joke that she's made up, which has me dying laughing. Like there's the video, if you go and watch the video where she had her cardiac review, I keep watching that back because it makes me laugh so much, because she had her first Italian lesson and just the way that she's explaining how it went and everything to me just makes me die laughing every time I watch it. So that's one of my favourite videos at the moment of ours, so it's kind of lame, but so the next question is, what is my favourite TV shows and movies? So I'm going to read them because otherwise I will forget what I'm doing and I'll have to keep cutting this video in weird places and editing me will not be happy. So my favourite movies this year have been Game Night, which is on Netflix still, so go and watch it. It's actually so funny and it's got so many like twists and turns in it. It's a really good watch. Johnny English, still addicted to it. I've been addicted to those movies since I was a child and now my daughter also loves them. So we're big Johnny English fans. It's just a good British film. Like, there aren't many British films that I absolutely love, but Johnny English's series is definitely one of them. Anything Spider-Man, very true. I love Tom Holland's Spider-Man, I love Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, I love Tobey Maguire's one. The Into the Spider-Verse one is amazing. The first time that we watched that, we kept pausing it and rewinding it because we couldn't get over how beautiful the artwork looked, because it was the perfect mix of like comic and pop art. And I really annoyed Dawn-louise because we'd rented it the first time, so we only had like 24 hours to watch it. We must have gone back and rewound it like 18 times the first time we watched it. I swear we did it so much just to be like, oh my god, look at this, look at this. So yeah, I think I should have seen that film in the cinema and not at home, because then I couldn't do that. My favourite sort of like romancy rom-com thing, I don't normally watch these types of movies, so I don't actually know what it's classed as, but my favourite one of those types is About Time. I think it's just a really good film and I always love like the time travel aspect in things, so yeah, it's been a really interesting one for me to watch. And another film that I really liked this year was Upgrade. Oh, and Onward. You can hear fireworks going off. Favourite TV shows, these are my favourite TV shows of all time, not just this year, but Orphan Black, Upload, Stargirl, which was from this year and we binge watched it in less than a week. It is really good. Warehouse 13, Friends, and Emily in Paris. I really liked Emily in Paris. I didn't think I'd like it. I put it on as a whim and I ended up really loving it, so yeah. But I do really like the actress in it. She's in a lot of the films that I enjoy watching. Love Rosie is one of my favourite ones of hers, probably. My favourite comedian is Sarah Millican. Now, usually I have tons of favourite comedians, but this year I haven't really been watching them that much, but I have watched quite a few of Sarah's and I absolutely love her. The next question is, what is my favourite music? Now, I have been very, very strong on liking rap music for most of my life. I was a big Eminem fan as a teenager, so most of the stuff that I listened to was rap or dance music, but I, on a whim, asked my Alexa, making sure she doesn't come on, I recently asked her to play country music and she played just like the radio channel for that music. And now I've got quite a bit of an addiction to country music. I have like a very small playlist that I curated myself that I will have on repeat multiple times a day. But my favourite song at the moment is Blue Ain't Your Colour, which is a country song. And I really like it. I don't know why I really like it. I just do. But my other favourite songs are still Rapper's Delight. It's 14 minutes and 56 something long, I think. The whole thing is actually a really long song, but you can watch a shorter one. You can listen to a shorter one. Personally, I prefer the longer one because my favourite bit is at the end of the longer version. So it's really annoying when my Alexa on my phone is playing the shorter version. I'm unaware until I realise that I can't sing my favourite bit and then I have to listen to the song all over again on the right version. I also really like the singer Alec Benjamin and Lewis Capaldi. So the next question is, what are my dreams? So let's try and get into this because I didn't note down what they are, so I'm gonna have to do this one by memory. So my biggest dream at the moment is to have a small house. I don't want a big house, but I do want to have a garden that Dawn-louise can have to herself, especially with everything going on with Corona at the moment, because we do have to share our garden, which means that when we're shielding we can't use our garden because anyone can walk into it. Our neighbours can walk into it and obviously we can't ask them not to. So one of my biggest dreams is to have a small house with a decent enough garden that Dawn-louise can play in there. The next one is dogs. I really would love to have 2 Cavaliers so that we could have one each, and I've done a lot of research and Cavaliers are the best breed for us. I would have liked to have rescued one, but where we live currently that is not going to happen, so it would have to be something we did in the future when we move. One of my biggest dreams is to be able to afford to buy a community centre, because what I would like to do is open it up to heart families so that at weekends, half term, summer holidays, we could have a camp for them, because there are no heart camps in England. There are a lot in other countries though, and they're amazing, and I know that a lot of the hot warriors that I know that live in America really speak highly of these sort of engagements, whereas here we don't have anything where you can really meet up with a lot of families like us in one place. So what I would like to do is sort of rent it out during the week to like after school clubs so that we can self-fund it and then have it open. And I can just imagine like everyone that comes through the first year putting like handprints all over the walls with the dates that they came and their condition or something, and we'd have like talent shows and awards and all sorts of stuff to get their spirits up and to celebrate all the achievements that they make, because I do know that when you sort of put a heart warrior against a child that doesn't have a heart condition, it becomes out really unfair. For example, sports days, my daughter's always left feeling like she's not good enough, so I'd love to have a place where we could just really take a second to appreciate all the amazing things that they've done and all the amazing things about themselves. So one of my biggest missions in life is to try and get a community centre where I could actually open that up for them. There aren't a lot of kids with Dawn's condition in our city. She is one of only 3. So I feel like it would have to be sort of in the summer holidays that we do like a camp or something so that people would travel down, and I would like to get like a couple of minibuses so that we could go and pick up families who don't have cars from train stations or further afield, so that no one has to miss out. Now that is a really big dream and very unlikely, but it's good to dream big, so I don't care. I would also really love, and this is like the crazy big dream, so if say like I won the lottery or something, I would like to buy a huge bit of land where I could create a tiny village with those tiny houses and have all of my heart friends live there so that we can all help each other out and, you know, support each other and stuff. And also fun community housing, like who doesn't want that? The next question is, what are my hobbies now? Thanks to Corona, I got some new ones. So I actually have a few now, whereas before I didn't. So crochet, I've really got into crochet. I actually really enjoy it. The problem is every time that I start something, I run out of wool and then I can't find the wool that I originally bought, so I get new wool, and then I'm like, well, this wool doesn't go with this wool, it's the different size, it's different texture, so I'm gonna buy another wool. So now I've started like 4 blankets and none of them are finished. So I do want to do crochet, but I need to organise wool first before I start so that I have enough and that I have the same type, because I really messed up not doing that the first time around. I also have really got into resin lately. Now, again, I messed up and didn't get the right supplies. So I got plastic mixing cups when I now know I should have got silicone, because plastic you got to throw away after you've used it. Silicone you don't. So I need to get some silicone cups, and then I want to make more stuff out of resin. It's so much fun, I really like it, and it's something I can do when Dawn-louise is asleep, which is good because I need myself some downtime. Now sadly I haven't been playing it as much as I thought I would when I purchased it, but I do like Animal Crossing. I've liked Animal Crossing for years. I was playing it on the DS right up until the Switch version came out, but unfortunately I just haven't really felt like playing it for a while, so it's been a bit neglected. But I will definitely play it more over winter because that's my favourite time to play, because it is seasonal, so I love seeing it in winter and all the snow and everything, because I've never actually seen proper snow, so digital snow will have to do. So the next question is, what are my obsessions? So my obsessions are Milk and More, which is like a delivery service for like old milkmen styled milk in glass bottles. You can get like fresh bakery goods and things like that, and it's all delivered to your door. And I don't know why, but I'm just obsessed with it. I love the like vintage style of having like an actual milkman and everything. I haven't used it yet, but I've been on the website a lot regardless, so I am still obsessed with that for some reason. Another thing that I've been obsessed with is organising, which sounds weird, but I got really excited every time that I bought like a new basket to store things in, or something to organise my drawers and stuff. I just really like organising things. I like the actual physical things that you buy to organise with, which is weird. You shouldn't need to buy things to organise, but that's what I've been doing and I'm addicted to it. Another one of my obsessions recently has been vintage cars. It came out of nowhere. I was just scrolling through Facebook Marketplace one day and I saw a Morris Minor from like 1945 or something like that. It's quite old. And I just love it. I just think it's adorable and I want one, and I don't even know how to drive yet, but I want one. Another thing that I have become more obsessed with is chalk art, which is a bit strange, but it's again thanks to lockdown. It's got me trying all sorts of new wacky things. So when I was a kid, I used to really enjoy drawing, and I used to be able to freehand dragons really easily, because I used to spend my free time in my granddad's dining room, which was full of like my uncle's like dragon sculptures and stuff. He would make some and then he would purchase some, so there was quite a lot. and I used to just sit there trying to draw them, and by the end of it I was able to draw it freehand. I haven't done art in years though because I've been too busy. So I bought chalk pens and I started drawing Disney characters on the windows so that the kids that walk past having their walks during lockdown would have something to see. And honestly it worked out so well because the kids would walk past and they'd smile and they'd laugh and they'd name them all, and we'd sit there behind the window just like smiling along with them because it made us happy as well. So when I first started drawing them, I hated it. I thought it looked really, really bad, but I couldn't rub it out because it's chalk, and you can't go over the top of it because, again, it's chalk. So the only way that I could go about it was to either finish or wipe it and start again. So because it took so much of the chalk to actually draw like a small drawing, I decided to carry on, and the finished product I actually really liked. So that turned from what was meant to be one of them to an entire window full of Disney drawings, and I'm now slightly obsessed with doing it. I really enjoy doing it, and I think if I can get some more pens at some point I will probably keep doing it, and maybe I'll make a Christmas window or something, but I haven't had the heart to wipe them off yet, so let's hope they don't stain my window because I didn't think that bit through. One of my slightly weird obsessions is bumblebees. For some reason I now have a whole list on Amazon of just things with bumblebees on. Now, I've always liked bumblebees. I've stopped and fed a few that have got tired quite a lot over my life, but I've never really been obsessed with them, and for some reason now I want my whole house covered in things with bumblebees in, and I don't know why. It's a very weird thing, and I don't know where it came from. I just saw something one day and it spiraled out of control, I guess. Another thing that I am so obsessed with, which to be fair I kind of always have been, but it's just getting worse and worse as time goes on, is gingerbread men. I really, really love gingerbread men, and it's the weirdest obsession that I currently have. Last year I went into a charity shop and I bought this big like pillow cuddly toy thing that's a massive gingerbread basically, and I loved him. I would just sit on the couch hugging him every single day throughout December, and it really upset me when I had to put him away. I was like, can't I just keep him out all the time? But I love gingerbread. I love making gingerbread, I love eating gingerbread, I love gingerbread decorations. Honestly, if I had the money, I would just turn our living room into a living gingerbread house for the entirety of December. Another thing that I'm obsessed with, and the final thing that I'm currently obsessed with, is Hallmark movies. So you can find these on Netflix, there's quite a lot of them, but pre-Netflix, I'd never seen these movies before. I'm guessing they're on like American TV channels normally, which obviously we don't have here in England, so, or at least I don't have. I don't know what other people do. I can't speak for the whole of England on what TV they watch. But yeah, I really love Hallmark movies. They're cheesy, they're seasonal, they're perfect, I love them. So the next question is, where do I see myself in 5 years? Now, it's not good. I am quite worried. I've been really worried about my future, and to be honest, I don't think that in the next 5 years are going to bring me much more than I already have. I am hoping that I will have a few more diplomas under the belt, and I am hoping that I might be able to start working in the next 5 years, but that really depends on how Dawn-louise does, because I am her full-time carer, and unfortunately at the moment there is still no way on earth that I would be able to make it work, no matter how much I want to, which really does suck. So I am hoping in the next 5 years I will start working. Ideally I would like to work in a rehoming centre with dogs, which is why a lot of the things that I study is dog psychology and dog behaviour training. Is I would like to work with dogs that are looking for new homes and have behaviours that need sort of ironing out beforehand. I'd really like to help the dogs that get stuck in these kennels for a long time because they don't have what everyone's looking for. But I think, in all honesty, the biggest thing that I can probably assure myself of is that in the next 5 years, I'm going to be really struggling with how little Dawn-louise is around, because in the next 5 years, Dawn-louise will be 15 years old, which is crazy, and I'm not ready for it, the slightest bit. But yeah, I think the most real thing that I could say right now is that I am expecting to be struggling with Dawn-louise not being around. I think she's going to be out, you know, with friends and doing these dance shows that she loves doing and such, and I think that she's going to be away from me a lot more, and I think that that is going to be a really, really hard thing to come to terms with, because with her heart condition, you know, she needs to be taken care of, and if something were to go wrong, I do hope that she'd be with people who could help her. So I feel like the thing that I'll be struggling with is not necessarily that she's not with me, but that she might not be safe. You know, she might get hurt, or she might have a health issue and not have anyone to help her go through it. Because obviously every time that she gets an ambulance, I'm there with her, and at 15 years old that might be a lot less likely. So I think that the fear for me is that in the next 5 years, I'm going to be worrying about her a whole lot more than I am now, which doesn't, I went really high then. I don't think it's that we won't spend a lot of time together. I think it's more that I'm going to be worried about worrying about her, because I feel like when she's, you know, when she's around me, I obviously know that she's okay. But if she's out with her friends, I'm going to be worried about, you know, what are they getting up to, those naughty teenagers? That is the end of the questions. It's a shorter video than I normally make with these, with less questions and different questions. So I hope that you liked it all the same. To anyone who's watched all of these, thank you. Let me know what you think has changed the most below. And let me know what you've learned this year, because I feel like the biggest thing about life is learning new lessons. So drop yours down below and let me read them. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.